Hey friends, my name is Osama, and in this video, I'll be breaking down the science behind Naruto's most recently featured Baryon Mode. The Baryon Mode is Naruto's strongest transformation as of yet featured in the show called Boruto, which works through the principles of nuclear fusion. If you're new to this channel, it's all about nuclear science and technology. And since I have a background in nuclear engineering, and Naruto has been one of my favorite childhood TV shows, I thought it made sense for me to do a deep dive into the science behind Naruto's Baryon Mode. For those that are new to the world of Naruto, Naruto is a Japanese animation cartoon which has dedicated fan base across the world, especially in Canada and the United States when the show first aired in the year 2005. In this video, I'll be going through three main central topics. Number one, what is a baryon? Number two, does Naruto's final form capture the scientific essence of nuclear fusion? And number three, I'll tell you a bit about my theory behind this form. So let's look into it. So let's start off with a short summary of what's happened so far. Now, Naruto is the host of a beast called the nine-tailed fox demon called Kurama. He works alongside Kurama to protect the village hidden in the leaves. Now, the new anime series, which covers the life of Naruto's son, Boruto, comes to an escalation point where Naruto is forced to use one of his strongest transformations yet, called Baryon Mode. Now, the science behind this mode is explained by Kurama, the nine-tailed fox demon, as using nuclear fusion principles where Kurama and Naruto's chakras are consumed as raw materials for this reaction. I wonder if Kurama is a nuclear engineer or has a background in nuclear engineering. Comment below if you think so. What's interesting about this mode is that it doesn't last for very long. It's only for a very short duration of time, but it is very powerful. So it's interesting because those two properties are in line with nuclear fusion principles. And I'll go into a little bit as to how this works on planet Earth. First and foremost, what is a baryon? The word baryon is used in the world of particle physics, and the name comes from the Greek term heavy. A baryon is a massive subatomic particle which also has a corresponding antiparticle. The most common examples of baryons are protons and neutrons, and you can learn more about this term if you sign up for a PhD in nuclear physics, which I think Kurama might have since he named this form Baryon Mode. So let's fast forward to principles behind nuclear fusion. Alright, so how does nuclear fusion work? Now, nuclear fusion is a reaction where two lighter atoms come together and smash together to produce a heavier nuclei. Now, this reaction takes place using intense heat. You need very hot environments, hundreds of millions of degrees for this to happen. So in terms of Kurama and Naruto's Baryon Mode, what I'm assuming is Kurama's chakras and Naruto's chakras are being fused in the same essence, where a lot of energy is required for this fusion process to take place. Now, where can you find fusion reactions taking place in the world? Well, the first examples actually are sun, where the intense heat in the core fuses together nuclei and produces massive amounts of energy in the form of light and heat. Another example of fusion reactions are that of nuclear fusion reactors like the tokamak, which, unlike the sun, take place on Earth. The difference is that these fusion reactions are taking place in smaller environments, which makes it more difficult to control, and also larger amounts of heat and energy are very difficult to contain. This is maybe a reason why Naruto on planet Earth is having trouble sustaining this fusion reaction. It's another reason why Kurama is telling Naruto that you have to be focused and not waste your energy in other ways. It's a reaction which requires a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, not only for Naruto, but also for nuclear fusion reactions, which are very sensitive. I'll get into that a little bit deeper in this video. So let me get a theory out there, and I really want to get your thoughts on this theory. But basically, when Naruto gets into Baryon Mode, his transformation has various tails coming out of his back. These tails are red, they're glowing, they look like energized particles, and it's also similar to a cape that's going on. In my perspective, my theory is that this cape and tail-like structure is made up of a substance called plasma or fusion plasmas. So what is a plasma? Plasma is an ionized state of matter that's similar to a gas. It's not a liquid, but it's not a gas either. They're created at extremely high temperatures, which go up to millions of degrees, or hotter than the surface of the sun. And you can find plasmas on Earth, but in nuclear fusion reactors, like the tokamak. And here's an image of a nuclear fusion plasma that's been created. These plasmas only last several seconds, but they looked super cool because you could see those energized particles glowing different colors. So in my perspective, this new form where these tails are coming out of Naruto and this cape, my perspective is that these are nuclear fusion plasmas and reaching very, very high temperatures. So that's my theory. Comments below, let me know what you think. So let's discuss the science behind nuclear fusion. Now what's interesting in baryon mode is that it can only be used for a very short period of time. And nuclear fusion reactions in real life applications, on the other hand, at the moment can only be used for a short period of time. For example, South Korea's K-Star Advanced Research Reactor broke the world record for maintaining a fusion plasma for 20 seconds. Yes, 20 seconds. In those 20 seconds, fusion plasmas reached a temperature of 180 million degrees Fahrenheit, which is crazy hot. Now we start to understand why Naruto's power levels increase, but only for such a short period of time. It's very similar to how nuclear fusion takes place on this planet. It's very difficult to control and also produces a crazy amount of energy, which is difficult to contain. So these are some of the obstacles which scientists are currently trying to figure out. They're working with different materials to see which materials can help confine these plasmas. They're also working with magnets, which work to help keep this plasma away from that surface. So yeah, it's all very, very interesting. All right, let's talk a bit about baryon mode. When Naruto goes into baryon mode, Kurama tells him to not make any unnecessary movements or have any stray thoughts. He needs to be very focused to be successful. Now, similarly, nuclear fusion reactions that take place on Earth in nuclear reactors, like the tokamak, are also very sensitive reactions. Scientists are having that similar focus as Naruto, where they need to focus on the material composition. So what material can handle these plasmas at hundreds of millions of degrees? Also using different techniques like magnets to confine these plasmas. Science is at a cutting edge where they're trying to control and be focused in order to control this reaction. Similar to how Naruto is getting a hold of this reaction. Who knows, maybe Naruto will one day be able to control this form for long periods of time. Just like humanity is trying to one day get to a point where they can sustain these reactions for a longer period of time. So the largest experimental fusion reactor called ITER is actually taking that mission on. What ITER is doing is it's anticipating to maintain these plasmas for around 400 to 600 seconds. That's an increase from 20 seconds, which is current world record, to now 400 to 600 seconds, which is an astonishing increase. The question is, why do stars like our sun maintain fusion so easily? And the reason why is because of the sheer size of the sun. It has intense heat loads, which makes it easy for it to sustain that reaction. But there you have it. There's an overview of the science behind Naruto's baryon mode. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in nuclear fusion or nuclear science and technology, I recommend checking out some of my other videos which go through the science of nuclear fusion, but also fission, which is also another very, very interesting reaction. What I'm really passionate about is nuclear technologies and how they can be used to fight climate change. And I think it's very similar to how Naruto is fighting the evil enemy, Isshiki. It's a very similar battle where humanity is trying to fight a villain, which is climate change, which we created. So I think the fight is similar, and I think the obstacles that Naruto has to go through in controlling this reaction, it's a life or death situation. It's also similar to what humans are facing in terms of life and death. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it wasn't too far-fetched. In the comments below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Till then, take care.